Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
I know what you did. Yeah, I know. And I wanna talk about it. And I know you don't. I've been holding guard for so long. And I don't know where to start now.
Happy Monday. You are locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. This is the show where we hit up all the trending topics and headlines in entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. I'm Jill Munroe. I hope you had an amazing weekend. As always, we have a lot to talk about. So much has happened. We have so much to cover here on RSVP. I'm glad you're checking in, VIPs. So let me give you a little bit of a rundown on what we're going to get into tonight, because it's a lot. And, I need you to, what are the instructions? Go get your libations, go get a drink so you're well hydrated, go get a snack, because we're going to be getting into some things tonight. Like Miss Erykah Badu. She has a celebrity crush, and it is the star of the Netflix film They Cloned Tyrone, John Boyega. We're going to talk about what happened when she met him and how some people are reacting and think that she needs to be called out. We're also going to get into Miss Badu having a little smoke for the queen bee herself, Beyonce. Erykah posted something to her Instagram stories over the weekend that has people questioning, what is she talking about? We're also going to talk about LeBron James charter school. I promise. The entire 8th grade class is failing math. We're going to get into that story and see who we should be holding accountable for this. We're also going to talk about that fight. That fight went down this weekend. Spence versus Crawford. The results. Crawford took down Spence. I don't know if you were watching, but if not, go check out some of those clips. It was epic. I don't know if they can do it adequate justice, but it was a good fight. But now that it's over, we're going to talk about Errol Spence and his future and get into that. There is a rematch clause in the contract, but should Errol be exercising it? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to get into some Cardi B news. We're going to talk about what happened over the weekend in Vegas at Dre's. We're also going to talk about an interview her husband Offset did, where he shared what he knows he has to do to make sure he keeps Cardi satisfied. That is an interesting topic. We're also going to get into some kind of sad news. There's been some passings today, so we're going to discuss that. We're also going to get into some changes that are happening to the Houston School District, and it involves libraries. Yes, a lot is happening as far as education. And we're going to talk a little bit about Quincy Jones' 90th birthday, Drake dissing Pharrell, and more. We have so much to get into tonight because that is what RSVP is here for, to keep you updated, to keep you locked in. So let me give you the parameters of the night. You know what the socials are. KBLA 1580. Make sure you're hitting us up there. I'm at Stiletto Jill. If you haven't already, go download the app. There's lots of ways to connect with us via that or catch the replay of the show. Take it with you. And, of course, the YouTube chat. The YouTube chat is always bustling with conversation. You can clock in there at the KBLA YouTube channel and hit us up there. Or if you have a comment on any of the topics that we're discussing tonight, you can hit us up at 800-920 1580. So now that you are locked in and waiting, when we come forward, we're going to get into all those topics and more. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Where are we on the lineup?
It's official. Avery is producing Main Street Music Days.
We need to be ready. We're going to have lots of people. What's the status on the new sound engineer?
They need an audio technician to keep things level from sound checks to encores.
Make sure audio from one stage does not compete with another.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are checked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So before we get into these trending topics and headlines, I have a few conversation starters for you. First up, Little Kim announced today that her autobiography is coming. The Queen Bee says it will be dropping soon with a foreword by Mark Jacobs, who she calls her bestie. It is being co-written by a young lady who also wrote a biography on Aaliyah titled Aaliyah Baby Girl. So, we can't wait to check that out. I'm sure Kim is going to be keeping it very raw and real. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Biggie stories, maybe a Puffy story or two, Mary, Faith. It's going to be some good tea, so I can't wait to check it out. We know Kim has been through a lot. She's a legend, so shout out to her. Keeping it on New York and New York women in hip-hop, Scarlett. Have you heard of Scarlett? She has been keeping everybody buzzing on the East Coast. People are really into her movement. I think her first single, Independent, is This Is New York. I believe that's the name of it. She's hardcore. Her real name is Sierra Lewis. She's from the Bronx. Well, big ups to her. Congratulations. She just officially signed with DJ Khaled. He said he couldn't wait to lock her down. There's been so much buzz about her. Busta Rhymes has been talking about her, Cardi B, lots of other rappers. So look for music to be coming from her soon, paired with DJ Khaled. You know, Khaled gets hits. Scarlett obviously built her fan base from social media. She has her TikTok account, I think it's Broken Child Productions, has over 24 million likes and almost 2 million followers. Her Instagram account has almost 300,000 followers, So go tap in with her if you like that real New Yorkness. See if you're feeling what she's putting down. So shout out to those two. And also, before we get into our stories for the night, we have to send condolences to the family of Pee Wee Herman, is what he was known by. His real name is Paul. Why did I just break on Paul's name? Paul Rubens. There it is. Rubens. I'm like, I wanted to say Robinson. I'm like, that's not it. Paul Rubens. He played Pee Wee Herman. You know, he was a fan favorite, grew in popularity in the mid 80s. Lawrence Fishburne was even featured on Pee Wee's Big Playhouse at one point in time as the cowboy. And he passed away at age 70 yesterday from cancer. He said to have kept it from his friends. Well, his close friends, only a select few were made aware of what was going on with him for the last 6 years. So sending lots of condolences to his family and good friends. We also lost Angus Cloud today. He plays Fez on Euphoria, the HBO drama. He was only 25 years old. We're not sure yet what the exact cause is. There's possibility it might have been a drug overdose. He also was dealing with some emotions following burying his father just last week. So prayers to him and his family. We know it's a difficult time and that he struggled with many things. So really hope that he has found some peace amongst himself. Now, we're going to talk about Miss Erykah Badu. We know Erykah Badu is a favorite of a lot of people. We know Erykah works her magic. She, in addition to being the vocalist, the songstress, the songwriter that she is, she's also known for her relationships, right? And so she's had a few high-profile relationships over the years. Andre 3000, a couple others, you know, Common. Who else? What is the guy's name? The rapper, Jay Electronica, DOC. You know, Erykah is magical. That's what a lot of people say. Well, at a recent concert, Erykah announced who her celebrity crush is. And her statement kind of turned some heads. So first, let's listen to her announcing her celebrity crush.
If anybody ever see John Boyega, tell that I said hi. And it's a lot of people in the audience. That's why I wanted to say that, because there's enough of y'all for one of y'all to get the message to the man, right? John Boyega, fine. How old is he? He under 30? Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Not still tough, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'll be looking for.
So Erykah expressed her infatuation with John Boyega. After this moment, John did walk out on stage, but, you know, a few people were upset because they felt like, one, she was being inappropriate, and two, that age gap. Erykah is 52 years old. John is under 30, as we heard. And some of the social media reaction to that part was, hey, if the roles were reversed and Erykah was a male artist and John was a young female actress, everyone would be up in arms. They would have a problem with what she said. But because it is one, Miss Magical Erykah Badu, that has been known to put down those lotions and potions and spells, allegedly, that she's getting a pass for being inappropriate. So I want to know, you know, that's our good question of the night. Do you think that what Erykah did was inappropriate? Do we think that she should be more mindful because this is someone that in theory could be her child? Andy?
No, what you did was not inappropriate. Number 2, dudes don't care. Number 3, we love that. Number 4, Erykah Badu, based off of biology, is probably in her, sexual peak.
Okay.
Hence why she went hard on John Boyega. And him being a 30-year-old man, trust me, he wants that smoke.
I mean, I'm sure he does. I wouldn't be mad at him for it. But the question is because, there's been a lot of conversation about the Me Too movement, about men not being able to express their feelings or when they are victims of some type of abuse, inappropriate behavior. So are we looking at this in the wrong manner? Should we? Well, so me personally, let me start with the fact that I believe that with 2 consenting adults, they are 2 consenting adults. So what they do or don't decide to do is their business. Everybody's legal, and that's it. Whether you like it or not, whether you think it's inappropriate, there's an advantage, all of these other things. I feel like everyone's an adult, and especially at this point in John's life, he's a grown man, so if he's interested in that, he's interested in that. That's just, kind of the way that it goes. But listen, people, it's a different era now, and age gaps are serious conversations. People are going back in time and re-examining relationships from the past, situations from the past, and looking at them with 2023 eyes. And I don't know if you can say it's not fair because it was a different era, but there's lots of things that happen in different eras that we go back and re-examine and want to view from our current lens. But I think that when it comes to relationships, especially those that are of consenting ages, whether you agree with it or not, you kind of just have to step back and mind your business. Tony Yayo agrees with you, Andy. He said dudes don't care.
It's facts.
So, I mean, and it's Erykah Badu. Here's the better part of this, though. After, Erykah put out her plea, John hit the stage because if you don't know, Erykah has the song over the ending credits and they cloned Tyrone. They changed You Better Call Tyrone to what? They cloned Tyrone. And they changed a couple of the lyrics and so forth. So, it probably was a cute little collaboration. But John came out on stage during Erykah's performance and they had a little exchange. Now, you can't hear much of what John is saying, but you can clearly hear what Erykah's saying. And this is what she has planned for their meetup.
I'm going to go back to the bus later on. After the show, of course. I got to finish this. Then we're going to go back to the bus. Is that all right? Yes. Okay. And we can... Yeah, they'll give you the key. You can roll one for me. Make sure you roll one up for me.
It should be noted that John did... It should be noted that John did gesture his fingers like he can handle that for Erykah. So sounds like he's an adult and, we don't know what happens. I'm not sure if John is single or not. He has made it very clear and very plain, though, that he has a love for Black women. That's all he's interested in. So there's that. So shout out to them. We'll see if anything transpires for this or if it was just cute promo for the movie. Could be that, too. But Erykah was also in news over the weekend because of her Instagram story. So as we know, Beyonce is on tour with the Renaissance Tour. And the theme of the tour is lots of sparkles, lots of glitter, lots of chrome, right? So Erykah posted a photo of herself in her chrome top hat. We know Erykah is known for her love of headwear. And she posted, "My favorite chrome mirror hat." And then said, "I guess I'm everybody's stylist." She then posted a picture of Beyonce wearing her mirrored chrome hat in the formation of the hat that she wore in the Formation video, but instead of it being black, this time it's chromed out to go with the tour aesthetic. And Erykah said, "I'm flattered." So do we think Erykah is doing too much? Is Beyonce simply moving forward on a movement that she started during formation. And even though it's similar to Erykah's, it doesn't mean that she necessarily took inspiration from. Not sure, but people are upset. They want Erykah to stand down. They feel like she's doing too much. You know, maybe she should just recognize that, one, the hats aren't even the same. Two, she's been wearing these hats for months and Erykah hasn't said anything. And three, relax. So I don't know. I think that it's just, creative license. Like I said, Beyonce wore this kind of hat in the formation video, all black. She had her head down. She gave the 2-finger salute, so it's not a new thing for her, but maybe Erykah just now noticed. Speaking of performances over the weekend, because there was a lot that happened, right? Cardi, first of all, Cardi really should consider trying out for somebody's baseball team. Cardi has a mean throwing arm. We have seen it time and time and time again. We saw it on the Love and Hip Hop reunion where she launched her shoe at, I can't remember who she threw her shoe at. Somebody on that stage got clocked though. We know that she and Nicki got into it at the Met Gala, and I believe she threw her shoe at Nicki that night, right? And so there's been some other incidents. Well, over the weekend, Cardi performed at Dre's in Vegas because, Vegas was lit. There was the Spence Crawford fight, which we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And so that means that Dre's is a must attend. So Dre's has a day party where you can be in the pool and watch the performance. It was probably about 115 degrees in Vegas this weekend. And so someone decided that they were going to throw a drink on Cardi. And Cardi reacts fast. Cardi is swift. Cardi turned and threw her microphone and clocked the person. Well, we saw multiple angles of this interaction as it came out later. And one thing that was apparent was that the woman that threw the drink, as soon as Cardi turned around and looked at her, oh, she was so scared. She was like, oh my God, I'm sorry. But it was too late. Cardi had already launched that fastball of a microphone at her. Here is the thing, though. There is another video, and there is a debate as to whether this video was from before the incident happened or after the incident happened. But in it, Cardi told the crowd to throw water on her because it was so hot. She said, throw it everywhere. So people are saying, hey, you ask people to cool you off, and then when someone does, you throw a mic at them. So I'm not sure if the order of events is correct. We will definitely see. But the woman that was standing next to the drink thrower, the woman that actually threw the drink, well, she says that the mic hit her too, that it basically ricocheted off the woman that threw it and hit her. And so she feels like she was assaulted. So she went and filed a police report against Cardi. And now there's a battery report that is filed against Cardi B. No word if charges will actually be filed yet. But, it sounds like open season to sue as well, because here's the thing. What is going on with audiences? Now, I don't know if that woman really felt like she was taking Cardi at her word, should those words have come before about cool me off, throw drinks on her. But realistically, do you really think she wanted something that you have had your saliva mixed in with thrown at her on stage? You're a stranger. So that's step one. Step two, though, is the suing, the lawsuits. I think that fans are getting a little too entitled with artists. I don't know if it's because of social media and they feel that they're much closer to them than they really are. I don't know if they feel that because they've supported them or been down since the early days. I was down when you only had 1,000 followers on Instagram and TikTok, that they have some type of ownership or agency in the situation. But fans are getting bolder and bolder nowadays. And so I feel like we're going to reach a point in a little bit where either there's going to be more space between the stages and the performers, which people won't like because they won't have the intimacy that they crave, or two, they're going to start taking away phones and liquids at some of these shows because it's really been out of control. This is probably about, the 8th or 9th incident that's happened this summer? Not sure, but seems like we got to get a hold of our manners and our morals when we're out and about, So I want to get into something else. It's a little switch up of a topic, but, I thought you guys would get a kick out of this. So there's a man that took to social media over the weekend, right? And usually this is a conversation that we hear from women. It's something that we see women express. So this man, I guess, was being really vulnerable and open. He got on social media and he shed a couple of tears. He said that after waiting 30 minutes at a restaurant for a woman to go on a date, he bought her flowers and everything. He said he had been constantly communicating with her. He was stood up. And he's like, I just want to find my person and be a good husband. Andy, can you play that for us? In a minute, for the gentleman who was crying about his date and being stood up. Coming up. Okay. Yep.
So I just left the restaurant after waiting 30 minutes for a date to show up. And apparently I got stood up. I don't know what to say. Like, I'm trying to do everything right to be a gentleman. I brought flowers. I've been consistent talking with this girl for 2 weeks, trying to get to know what she likes, what she doesn't like. I made plans. I picked the restaurant, the day, and the time. I've done everything to be just the kind of guy that would value somebody's time. Like, I'm just looking for my person. I'm just looking for the one that, I guess, is out there for me. I mean, I want to be somebody's husband someday, father. I'm trying to do everything that's right, and I just get stood up. Like, my feelings didn't even matter. Sitting there eating a meal by myself and realizing that nobody even cares.
So, I don't know if that was a skit or not. I don't believe that it was, but first things first. 2 weeks does not mean obligation. 2 weeks is 2 weeks. Now, the woman was wrong. I don't think that you should stand anybody up. I think that is poor behavior. It is a problem. But I also don't feel like 2 weeks means that we're locked into something or that there's necessarily a vision. Again, poor behavior on the woman. She should have not stood the gentleman up. A text will do. But the question was asked. Tony Yayo says, I hope that was a skit. And he said he's not a fan of this guy putting that on his socials. But here's the thing, he wanted to be vulnerable and open. We just talked about how men are not encouraged to do that. And sometimes, you guys need a release too. I mean, maybe he really felt that way. Andy, what do you think?
I need a little bit more context. I need some more background information because there's a lot of guys out here that's very delusional. And I feel like I know a guy similar to him that would do the same exact thing if he got quote unquote stood up. Was it a real date? Did you solidify date and time and all that jazz? I'm just curious.
Well, when we come forward, we'll get into more of that. You have news and sports up next. You're checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
You could tell me stay, but I have to go, 'cause I would not expect someone to stay around if I let them know. Right when I let my guard down, you play around.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network.
Clinical trials for long COVID treatments are starting soon, with the National Institutes of Health currently enrolling patients. They expect additional trials to test at least 7 more treatments in the next few months. These are the first into a possible treatment for long COVID after Congress provided over $1 billion in funding in December 2020 for the NIH's Recover initiative to research the long-term consequences of COVID. And police are investigating black rapper Cardi B for battery after she threw a microphone at an audience member who threw a drink on her. That's according to a Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department statement to the New York Post. And the extreme heat wave continues. In the Southwest, Phoenix has now topped 110 degrees for 31 days straight. And that's the latest. I'm Esther Dillard from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Prime members save more at your Amazon Fresh store. As a Prime member, you'll save 10% on hundreds of items in store, from organic produce to pantry staples to handcrafted pizza. Head to Amazon.com/fresh locations and find a store near you.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
If this were a Reese's TV ad, you'd be staring at a Reese's peanut butter cup. And sure, my voice is peanut buttery smooth, but still, you need to see the peanut butter cups, right? No? I can really just say Reese's and you'll go get some? Okay, Reese's. 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 Really working, actually. Reese's. Reese's. I'm on to something. Reese's. Reese's. Reese's.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Sometimes we lose, sometimes we win. Sometimes we try to fit it all in. Sometimes we don't know what's in store. Sometimes we find what we're looking for. Sometimes we're rolling easy and free. Sometimes 1 and 1 makes 3. So much to love along this ride. That's why Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates, Columbus, Ohio.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Son. Listen, Timberland and JT were in their bag on this. I know that Justin Timberlake is no longer in the good graces of the community. However, this album, everything. And Cry Me a River, entirely appropriate. So before we came forward, we were discussing a gentleman who got on social media to sort of tear up and say that he was stood up by this young lady that he had been talking to for 2 whole weeks. I mean, that's step number 1. I don't know what type of expectation you have after 2 weeks. That is a little much for me, I
expect a date after 2 weeks.
You can't expect a date. You can't expect a date, and you do not deserve to be stood up, but I don't know how deep of a connection you really think that you've made after 2 weeks. You've made a connection, maybe not a deep one. Maybe. I'm gonna make a strong assumption that they've never met in person, and they probably never FaceTimed. Okay.
I think that plays a factor. I mean, if I had to give him some advice, never take anybody out on a date that you never met in person.
That makes sense.
Because this digital stuff, you know what I'm saying, the Tinder and all other type of stuff, like, that's cool and all. I've known people that have actually got married off of that type of stuff. Salute to them. But in situations like this, like, let me speak for myself. I never just took a random chick out. There always had to be a level of rapport built, even if it was just a day. But I knew, first off, we probably chopped it up in person for that one day. And for me, it was just, you have to have that assurance that you know that this person is coming. And quite frankly, he probably should have found a way. I don't know what his transportation situation is, but if he went ahead and maybe offers to go pick her up.
No, because if it's their first date, I think that especially in 2023, the year that we're in, I think that sometimes women are, if a guy comes to pick you up, you're stuck. He knows where you live. If the date isn't going that well, you got to get in the car with him after you eat and go home. Who wants that awkwardness?
Okay, well, this is what you do. Miss, go to a hotel lobby. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I'll go send an Uber for you.
Okay. That I agree with that. That can work. I just think that maybe he thought, because he's saying that this one incident where, again, being stood up is not cool. Nobody wants that.
He comes off like a simp. Sorry. I'm sorry, my guy.
You know what's interesting in you saying that was a lot of men use this to justify that women don't really want the Russell Wilson type. And to me, he is not a good example. They're saying that because he is not appearance-wise, he wasn't, I guess, he wasn't unattractive. He just, you could tell he wasn't maybe the smoothest guy. You know, He didn't have an edge. I'm not saying he had to be a thug. He just didn't seem like he had an edge to him. And so it seemed that maybe he was in a place that he shouldn't have been even before the first date. Because why is this? And again, I get it. It hurts being stood up. But you're talking about you want a wife. This was just a date. This is just a date. So, you know. I don't know. We'll see what happens, though, with that. I mean, you know, maybe he'll have a resolution. There were some indications that some people went down the rabbit hole in his social media, and he may not be the nice guy that he is portraying himself to be. But I don't know if that's true or not. You know? We'll have to see. I'll keep you updated if anything else comes across the line. If you have commentary on this or any of the other stories, 800-920-1580. You can always hit us up. Hit us up on social media, KBLA 1580. You know, I'm at Stiletto Jill. Going back to Cardi B for a second, I forgot to mention that she also performed at Dre's one of the nights while she was there. And I guess the DJ did something not to her liking, and she threw a mic at the DJ too. So I'm assuming that mics and shoes are her weapons of choice, just like a mom, you know, like an old school mom, I suppose. They are deadly with their aim and random objects. So forgot about that. We'll see if charges are actually filed on Cardi or what comes to be from that situation. And, you know, maybe that guy will get a date, and maybe he can treat her like Offset says he treats Cardi B. We're going to talk about that, you know, when the VIP ropes come down in the 11 o'clock hour. After hours, we're going to get into all of that. Ben Frank says, I like Cardi, but yeah, she has some issues. I mean, it does, you know, Cardi has seen at times to maybe have some anger issues. However, I do think that fans are really doing the most at this time. We've seen Drake get something thrown at him. We saw BB Rexa get something thrown at her. Lil Nas X. There's been a couple of others, you know. People are really wilding out as far as throwing things. And I think it's really just a copycat thing at this point, you know. Any way to get social media clout. Anyway, even if it's negativity. So that's it on that one. And good luck to the guy. I'm not even really sure what the guy's name was, but, you know. He was sad and all over social media. Maybe he found his flower. So over the weekend, Quincy Jones is celebrating his 90th birthday, and he had a big concert celebration at the Hollywood Bowl here in the Los Angeles area. And there were several people that came out to perform in support of him. It featured performances and appearances by her, Jennifer Hudson, Samara Joy, BJ the Chicago Kid, Patty Austin, Angelique Kiddo, Aloe Black, Saida Garrett, Shalea, and many, many more. Some of the songs that they performed from his extensive catalog include Soul Bossa Nova, A No Corrida, 100 Ways, and more. So when asked by an interviewer which of his favorite songs, like if he could pick a few to be his top, to be what he would pull together as a favorites list, he said that he couldn't even do it. He couldn't even do it for his most devoted fan. He said it's like asking which of his children he loves the most. He was blessed to have been born at a time when he could work with the greatest artist to ever walk the planet, and to have accomplished that in all that he has in every arena. He says he wouldn't trade one note of that or any part of that journey. He also is not lost on the fact that he's outlived many of his contributors. And so with that, that is why you see some names that you maybe wouldn't connect with Quincy Jones, because he doesn't have the luxury to be able to call the people that he works with. He did say that he doesn't consider anything in his category to be off limits. He said as long as the collaborators, the new ones, can handle it, he doesn't mind them, messing around with his music. So, in short, he said there'll never be another Miles Davis, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Frank Sinatra, Ella, Dinah Washington, Sarah Vaughan, Michael Jackson, just to name a few. He said what he always tells young artists is to learn everything that has been done by every artist. That way, you'll use that as your foundation to develop your own style, your own sound, and your own voice. But Quincy said he was sure that everyone in the lineup could handle it, and it was an amazing performance. So, just to give you an idea of the awards he's won, 80 Grammy nominations, 28 wins, 7 Oscar nominations, a Tony, and another nomination for a Primetime Emmy. So shout out to Quincy Jones. Happy birthday to him. When we come forward, we will get into Miss Oprah Winfrey's comments about the Beyonce concert that she attended over the weekend. We're going to talk about Drake and a little bit of his beef. And we're going to get into what's going on down in the city of Houston with their library. All that and more, you're checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Civil rights leader John Lewis honored with the Forever Stamp. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News. Civil rights activist and Congressman John Lewis was revealed as the late public figure who's being honored on the United States Postal Service newest Forever Stamp. Lewis, who died 3 years ago, was a civil rights hero who was in the United States House of Representatives for Georgia's 5th Congressional District from 1987 until his death in 2020. From the Nashville sit-ins in the 60s to the Freedom Rides to the March on Washington to being a pillar of the civil rights movement, Lewis was a force who deserves such an honor. And for $9.90 on USPS.com, you can purchase your book of 15 stamps that honors the life and memory of Lewis. I'm Maisha Cairo for KBLA Talk 1580, and that is your K-Black Minute News.
Contracts, and grants. This is Rambo, and I'm back August 5th. Contracts, and grants. I'll be at the Westin Hotel, LAX, Saturday, August 5th. Me and my guests are fast-paced in the contracts and grants. They only speak 6 minutes each. I have LA County, I have the city. I even have Everett, the CEO of Lindustry, coming to talk to you guys. And for the first time ever, I have Metro's Director of Certification coming. We average over 700 attendees, so you know the rules. Parking's about $15 with the event validation, event, coffee, snacks, all free, paid for by Rambo and Lindustry. And yes, you can bring guests. So save your seat, DeonRambo.com. Listen, contract ready's only 2 hours from 10 a.m. to 12. But if you get there around 9:30, I'll probably be doing some Q&As and things like that before the events I never get a chance to do. I honestly keep saying, I don't know what's more important for LA businesses right now than local contracts. So I'm back, Westin Hotel, LAX, Saturday, August 5th. August 5th. It takes 2 minutes to register. DeonRambo.com. Go register now. DeonRambo.com.
Have you heard about Lendustry? Lendustry is a national Black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendustry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendustry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendustry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendustry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe. And, you know, we here give you exclusive access because you're VIPs. You get that special treatment. And over the weekend, Miss Oprah Winfrey, she took in some special treatment. She attended the Beyonce concert in New York, and she went with her friend Gail, right? Of course, Oprah and Gail. And afterwards, well, first, Miss Tina posted herself partying with Oprah and Gail, jamming to Beyonce's music. So, shout out to her. I don't know if, and this is a little sidetrack here, I don't know if you guys have perused Richard Lawson's Instagram as of late, but you know, the Twitter detectives, they even work on Instagram, yes. They went and they found a video that Richard posted from back in May, utilizing a Jay-Z track. And you know, it's like, I'm sorry, what you want me to do is show me what you got. That's the track that he chose. Interesting, since that's now his ex-son-in-law, but whatever. And Richard was showing out. He looked like he was letting the world know he's back to the streets. I don't know. You can check that out. I retweeted it. It's on my Twitter. It's also on his Instagram. I believe it was from May, so before the announcement was made, but clearly he was out there showing up and showing out. Andy?
I got to correct you on something.
What's that?
You mean X, not Twitter.
Listen, we're not doing that. What is the Fox Hills Mall? Is it Westfield Shopping Town or is it Fox Hills Mall? It is Fox Hills Mall. What is that place downtown where the Lakers play? Is that Staples Center or is it Crypto.com Arena?
Point taken.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Heck, even the X sign that was on the Twitter building in San Francisco, they had to take that down. First of all, Elon was being wild disrespectful. It was a flashing light, like, you know, the kind where they give you the warning where they say you could get a seizure from looking at this. So it was a flashing light. It was right across the street from a residential building where it's like palatial views and all glass. So a lot of those people probably don't even really have shades or curtains. And they kept that thing going all night. But it's down now, so there it is. Anyway, the Twitter detectives found that Richard Lawson video, and it is glorious, if I must say so myself. You should definitely check it out, because looks like he's feeling himself and he was back. So check that out if you want a giggle or two. But back to Miss Oprah. So Oprah took to Instagram, and she had this to say about the Renaissance tour. She said, I have never in my life experienced something as transcendent as Beyonce's Renaissance tour. That kind of talent, synergy, expression, and anointing is something that comes straight from a source that creates the planets. The dancers, the production, the musicians, and the team in front and behind the scenes. All perfectly aligned to create a renaissance in today's world. You must see it. So, you know, if Oprah is putting her stamp on it, not that Beyonce needed Oprah's stamp at this point. We've seen how people have been showing out across the world, going to check out this tour. We've seen Blue Ivy growing in her performance on stage. So we know it's majestical. But I think in addition to going to check it out just because Beyonce always puts on an amazing show, I think that we might be starting to see not the last of Beyonce, because Beyonce is still a young woman, but I think that this is going to be one of, you know, when we look back, like, oh, we should have known at that moment Beyonce probably isn't going to be touring again for a while. We maybe should pay attention to this. That's just my thoughts on that, but you know, Oprah says go check it out. Tickets have been sold out everywhere, but you might be able to get one. Maybe you can get one of those aftermarket deals. You might be a baller and don't need that kind of, you know, hookup. But look, check out Beyonce. So Ben Frank in the chat says simply, Elon's a buster. We know that. I mean, here's the thing, though. It's gotta hurt that you were just being a smart guy, being funny, talking mess about Twitter, and they held you to that and made you buy it. And now you're just out here floundering, trying to figure out what to do with it. The fact that it has lost billions and billions of dollars in not only brand value, but in advertising revenue is just sad, because Twitter was great. And I wonder what the final fallout is going to be, because Twitter is so ingrained into so much programming now. It's used to obviously keep in touch with people during times of disaster, protests. We saw it came in. And even though Threads came in, real hot, came in real hot, 70% drop off since that July 7th peak. And in addition to that, people are just kind of looking at social media now differently. Maybe they'll go to TikTok. You know that you can now use images on TikTok. Well, you can use text-based images and words and narrate it, even though they said that it's not their focus to be a text-based app. It's just something fun to add to the creativity of their users, but maybe that'll take over. I'm unclear. It seems like everyone is hanging on to Twitter until the lights really go down, until we're locked out of the building. So check your Twitter app. It still has X. It should have been changed over to X by now. Just a black and white X. Very generic. Don't really know what it means. Still, the odd thing, when you post, it still says tweet. I'm sure maybe those things are getting rolled out in batches, one at a time. But look, it's still there. Ben Frank says he still has Starlink, SpaceX, and Hyperloop. He does have all of those things, but I mean, if I paid $44 billion for something, I'd want to see it last. At least a little bit. Work. I don't know. We'll have to see what develops with X, because it seems like even though everyone is in agreement that it is just a catastrophe at this point, nobody seems to be willing to, let it all the way go. So let me know your thoughts. 800-920-1580. Drop them in the chat. Hit us up on social media. We love to hear from you. Let's review the topics that we've talked about in case you've forgotten. We talked about Cardi B and her shoe throwing. Well, her microphone throwing. Is Cardi in the wrong? We know that there have been charges. There's been a police report filed. We don't know if the police will file charges. Is she out of line? Should she calm down? Should she just accept that sometimes physical aspects will be part of her job as a celebrity? Erykah Badu, she was laying it out for John Boyega. Was she wrong? Should she have been more respectful of him because he could, in theory, conceivably is young enough to be her son? Is she out of line for throwing that hook out there, joke or not? We want to know. And, of course, I want to know what you think about the guy that was crying about being a good guy and not getting a date. If you have thoughts about any of those things, let us know. And in hour 2, we're going to discuss Drake dissing Pharrell. He has a new song called Meltdown that's on Travis Scott's new album, Utopia. We're going to get into that and what he had to say and the diss he threw that way. We're also going to talk about LeBron James's I Promise School and what's going on with that, why all of the 8th grade students have failed math competency tests. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the Houston School District and some changes they are making there to their libraries. And we're going to get into a rising endemic actually, that's taking place in where? Florida. Because why? Florida, no shade, no tea, is right now like the toilet bowl of America. All that and more when we come forward. You are checking out RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Bridges go burn. Now it's your turn to cry. Tell me a rhythm. Tell me a rhythm. Tell me a rhythm. Tell me a rhythm. Yeah. I know that they say that some things are better left unsaid, but it wasn't like you only talk to